only us, but to address the nation. Mr. President.
Thank you. Let's be seated, please. Thank you, Minister Mkhunu, Minister of Police of the Republic of South Africa. And also thank you, Program Director. I'd like to stand on the protocols that have already been articulated here, because there are so many high-level people with high-flying positions here, and I just am afraid to even mispronounce some of the titles. When I look on my right, there are all the top police officers, generals, colonels, major generals, you name them, they are all here. When I look here, there are ministers, deputy ministers, and you name them. When I look that side, I see there are people from the city, MECs, people from civil society, intellectuals, religious leaders, and all that. When I look on stage, I find our Premier of Gauteng. I've been standing next to him a few times as we sing the national anthem. And as many of you will know, we so love our national anthem that when we sing it, we belt out our voices. And a few times as I stand next to him, I hear him very quiet, and I continue to sing. Nkosi sikelela morena buluka. And he doesn't sing. When it comes to the Afrikaans, then he sings. And I've often wondered whether it's because he's Andre. And when it comes to the English, he's quiet again. So this is my observation. Minister, thank you very much for this opportunity. And allow me to congratulate you, Minister, for having conceived this idea of having a police summit. This is a critical summit because safeguarding our nation's safety and security requires that we become proactive, we become innovative, creative, and we should be all solutions-oriented in our approach. This is what you have proven just soon after you got into your position as Minister of Police, working together with your two deputy ministers. So thank you very much. This is highly appreciated. Thank you. Now, the police are a frontline service. I often say that when people encounter the state, when they interface with the state, it is when they see the police who are in uniform, who are visible in front of them, who represent the state of the Republic of South Africa. We don't often see our soldiers because they are often in barracks or at war, but it is police that we often see. In our streets, in our various places where we either conduct business or leisure, it is only when we go to hospital that we will encounter other people in uniform, nurses and doctors and so on. So the police play a critical role in promoting the statehood of our nation. They are out there, visible, being able to be seen by our people. So therefore, as they interface with the community on a daily basis, it is important that our police should be guided by the Batupili principles of high service standards, of being approachable, of being people who are consultative, who will be able and willing to consult with our people, who will also be demonstrating that they are there to enable our people to have equal access to the services that the state has to give. But at all times, there should be people who will treat the citizens of South Africa with respect, with dignity, and empathy and compassion. The South African Police Service mission is to prevent crime, to protect the people of South Africa, and to ensure that they investigate criminality and those who offend are brought to justice. They are there to counter threats to community safety and security, and importantly, our police are also there to participate in efforts to address the root causes of crime. Crime is both a cause and a symptom. It is a cause of insecurity and instability in our communities as it weakens social fabric. Crime has a direct impact on the economy of our country. It discourages investment. It disrupts business activity and leads to increased security costs, yes, for companies. But crime is also a symptom of wider problems in a society. The wider problems being poverty, inequality, and unemployment, but also the lack of opportunity, also the presence of patriarchy and misogyny, and also broken family structures that are just breaking our family fabric apart. And these are some of the causes of crime and criminality. Addressing crime without understanding its root causes is like being a doctor treating a patient for a fever without diagnosing what the underlying illnesses are. It is therefore encouraging that this summit has as one of its key objectives adopting a more holistic approach to law enforcement, encompassing not just the police, but the entire police system. I'm particularly pleased that you've brought together a number of stakeholders from the safety and security establishment communities, those who play a critical role in ensuring that, yes, there is safety in our communities. This is an important aspect that you will be addressing here at this summit. To have civil society, to have business, and to also have the interfaith sector, labor, and other sectors is critically important. Now, just as crime is an all-of-society problem, overcoming crime must also be an all-of-society effort. In doing so, we must marshal our full support behind the hard-working men and women of the blue uniform, the South African police. The policing terrain of today is complex, but it is also multifaceted. The police strive to fulfill their mandate in the context of emerging threats, and the threats multiply day by day. These threats include transnational organized criminality, illegal mining, extortion syndicates, kidnapping syndicates, the theft of economic infrastructure, money laundering, and terror financing as well. And yet, even in this extremely challenging environment, the South African Police Service continues to register successes in fighting crime in its various operations. We heard from the Commissioner, National Commissioner of Police, as he said that they are beginning to see the incidence of criminality beginning to go down. And we also heard the Minister talking about a number of initiatives that are underway to address the challenge of criminality. We also heard how the Premier of Gauteng, having identified all those 450-something people, and how they are tackling the incidents of crime that are perpetrated by all these people. Now, to build on those successes, we need to restore public trust as well as faith in the police. We need to improve the relationship between the police and the communities that the police serve. And that is why it is so important for this very first police summit not only to be a boys' or a girls' club of the police, but it should also include the key stakeholders in our communities who are going to participate in charting the way forward, in coming up with clear strategies of how we should tackle criminality in our country. So we need to work to improve the morale of the police, many of whom are battling heavy workloads, who have insufficient resources, as well as outdated systems. Even as the South African police budget has increased over the past 10 years, we've often thought that it has been going down, and I tracked it last night, and I saw that over the past 10 years, yes, the police budget has improved and increased, often above inflation, save for 1 year when it dipped down. So much as we are improving and increasing the police budget, the reality is that the number of police personnel has been declining while the country's population has been growing. The resources of the police are stretched extremely thin. This means that we must work better as well as smarter by using existing resources more effectively. We know that communities are the most potent resource for fighting crime. Crimes happen in communities, and criminals are often known in communities. If you hear of a crime that has been committed in a particular area, you often hear people say, we know who could have done it. They have real intelligence about how that criminal act could have happened. Even if it is a heinous crime like a rape, the killing of a child, the killing of a woman, even if it is a robbery, they know quite often who did it. From this summit, we need a clear plan on how to better involve our communities in crime prevention, as well as in crime detection, and on harnessing the potential of our CPFs in line with relevant legislation and regulations. Our citizens must be empowered to actively participate in crime prevention efforts through collaboration, through raising awareness and community-driven initiatives to create safer neighborhoods. Our people do care about their own safety, and quite often their own safety comes first in their lives. They are invested in ensuring that there should be safety in their environment. We need to harness this huge enthusiasm that they have, but we need to harness it as the police, as various other sectors of society, be it business, be it our trade unions, be it religious organizations, be it other community organizations. We need to harness that. But the police must be at the forefront as being willing to assist, to support, willing to act together. They must demonstrate compassion. They must demonstrate respect for our ordinary citizens. This can no longer be seen as an add-on. It is critical to an effective policing strategy. Forging these partnerships with other stakeholders, such as business and various other structures, is equally important. We have seen the value of the support of the private sector, whether it is by supporting CPFs, resourcing victim support centers, or donating equipment and services. Even as the minister was saying, laying out a plan of where we would need engagement and support from the private sector. It is important that we should do that. We welcome the progress made through the partnership between government and business, which has focused on key interventions to strengthen our crime-fighting capabilities. We need to build on existing best practice and develop sustainable cooperation models that deliver measurable results. A holistic approach to policing should include deepening collaboration with other government departments as well, such as the Department of Social Development, such as the Department of Women, Children, and Young People. It also includes deepening cooperation with community leaders, community-based organizations that have the capacity to tackle some of the social causes of crime. Data that we have should play a pivotal role in policing and law enforcement. And we need, therefore, to apply a socio-economic lens when analyzing such data. The data may tell us, for example, about a community with a high prevalence of housebreaking and robbery, in which substance abuse is also rife. Understanding the connections revealed by this data should inform the approach to policing in that community. There is ample data on the linkages between alcohol abuse and the prevalence of gender-based violence. A holistic policing approach would, for example, need to involve working with local authorities to enforce municipal bylaws for establishments selling alcohol. I visited Johannesburg one evening and found that the JMPD was patrolling Premier throughout the city in the most impressive way. And I realized then that in order for us to have safe cities, we do need, yes, to deploy as many cars that you spoke about earlier. We also do need to have a presence of the police to deter criminality. And it was quite late at night, and I found that there was no criminal activity because JMPD was in place, they were visible, they were there, and they were not threatening, they were just well positioned to make sure that, yes, criminality does not take place. And that is what we want to see. So it is therefore important that our presence as police should be seen. It should be visible. And I know that you need more and more numbers. And that is why in the past 2 State of the Nation address, we committed to increasing the number of police. And yes, I'm glad to see that even our metros are increasing the number of traffic officers, municipal police, but here in Gauteng, you have also taken on the safety wardens, the crime wardens, as you call them, and I have been seeing them. And I often ask them, how many people have you arrested? Many of them are young people. They say, many. And I say, how? Will you ever be able to arrest me? They just smile away. But their presence is very important. They are gaining a lot of experience, and we should assist them and applaud them for the dedication that they are showing. But as you correctly say, Minister, we do need to harness and employ modern technologies to support crime fighting. Premier, I was pleased to hear you say you are deploying cameras throughout our areas, in the townships, in the cities, and that is to be applauded. When I was in the township the other day, a number of people said to me, Premier, we don't have cameras in our streets, meaning that our people are now well disposed to having cameras in their streets because they want to participate through the use of technology in ensuring that criminality is reduced. So as South Africans, we must now broadly, all of us, accept and embrace the importance of technology. Having visited a big city in China, which has like 18 million people, they were able to show me that this whole city is on camera. They took me to their control center and they said, you can see the entire city of 18 million people. We are able to see instantly as any untoward activity takes place, be it an accident, be it a theft, be it a housebreaking, we see it instantaneously, and the police are therefore able to act. And that city is one of the safest cities that they have in China. We must go the same way as well, because technology does work. Particularly where we face constraints of having real boots on the ground. When we can't have as many boots on the ground, we need to use technology. Technology is there, and it is able to utilize even the modern applications of artificial intelligence to enhance our own sense of safety. And this is what we now need to do. I am particularly pleased, Minister and Premier, that these technologies are now being employed, and we are going to have more and more of these technologies. We therefore welcome the focus of this summit on exploring the role of technology in modern policing, in investigation, as well as intelligence. Technology is particularly crucial when analyzing crime trends and patterns. It is also valuable in empowering citizens, as I saw in Soweto just this past week. As part of facilitating access to South African police service, it is encouraging that discussions are planned for how to leverage innovative digital platforms, such as mobile apps, online reporting systems, and virtual communication channels to improve the public's interaction with the police. To turn the tide against crime, we need better collaboration amongst the different agencies in the law enforcement space. There is a proliferation of organized crime in our country, including the manufacture of illicit drugs, kidnapping for ransom, money laundering. This is all taking place alongside a growth in illegal mining, extortion in the construction sector, and the theft of public infrastructure. As much as the specialized police units devoted to these particular crimes continue to register progress, they heavily rely on actionable intelligence and traditional policing and detective work. That is why we need to deepen collaboration between law enforcement agencies to ensure better coordination and information and data gathering as well as sharing. Corruption is also another major challenge that we must confront. It is a scourge that has left no aspect of society untouched, including the police. Alongside measures to protect whistleblowers, to implement the National Anti-Corruption Strategy and strengthen accountability, we have to urgently look at strengthening the fundamentals of policing. Now, not all police officials or officers are corrupt, but the community that we serve often articulate a concern that a number of the police who are serving them are corrupt. Now, we need to address this. We need to begin in a visible way to distance our police from corrupt activities. And the police also must act against those amongst the police who embark on corrupt activities, so that we should have police who will shy away from being tempted, from being lured into corrupt activities. This is an important task that we need to undertake. The police must be seen as guardians of the safety of our people. They must be seen as the police officers who are there to ensure that they protect our people. It is not enough to demonstrate that we are prosecuting South African Police Service members guilty of corruption. We have to instill a culture of honesty and integrity in the police. That is what we need to do. Now, the applause on this is coming from the left side. I want to hear it coming from the right side as well, where the police are. Because it is yourselves as the police who must safeguard your own integrity, who must make sure that as the people of our country look at you, they look at you as people who are there to serve them with dignity and with integrity. It is our expectation that this summit will devote the necessary attention to promoting ethical behavior, accountability, as well as measures to rebuild confidence in law enforcement. And by accountability, we mean being engaged with our people, being able to explain to them what we are doing in making them safer. Respect for the law and of the authority of the state is a cardinal priority for the summit. Instilling a culture of ethics forms part of a wider effort to professionalize the police service. This includes programs to attract the right caliber of candidates to the South African Police Service through a rigorous selection process, as well as providing opportunities for training, education, and career development. I must say that I've been hugely impressed as at times I've listened to the commissioner describing to me how they go about, yes, processing the various applications that they receive as we announce that we are now going to employ more and more police, and how on an individual basis they are able to go through each applicant's application, curriculum vitae, record, whether it's criminal or whatever, before finally appointing a person. Now, this, for me, is really good career development processes that the SAPS must be applauded for. And I applaud you for that, Commissioner. Now, this landmark summit, and it is a landmark summit, has much to consider and many issues to address. You're going to be here together for 3 days, and you're going to address a whole number of issues. It is a historic summit, and therefore you need to delve into the issues with a real amount of commitment as you break into the various 5 commissions that you're going to have or participate in, where each one of you will have an opportunity to give views, thoughts, and suggestions and strategies on what we should do. So, from my point of view, I look forward to this summit coming up with really good strategies that are going to enable us to begin to address the problem of crime in our country more meaningfully. Now, if the South African Police Service is to fulfill its crucial mandate, we have to emerge from these few days with a clear plan on how to address the systemic deficiencies that are negatively impacting on policing. Now, as a country, we owe the South African Police Service our full support. As government, we remain committed to turning the tide against crime and making our communities safer. It is our hope that the recommendations emerging from this summit will translate into deeper collaboration, more effective methods, and a promising future for policing in South Africa. Minister, as much as you want to have this every 5 years, we look forward to this summit changing the course of policing in our country. As you have said, that we would like to improve the manner in which our police function, and what better place and summit is there than to have the people who are engaged in the whole task of policing directly, and many other people who are their collaborators, particularly communities, academics, the religious community, and many others, as well as colleagues who are in the local government sphere. So this, to me, is a very, very powerful summit, a powerful summit that we need to pay our full attention on and devote these 3 days to actually going down into greater depth and insights on what we need to do to bring the levels of criminality down. So I have high hopes about what will come out of this summit, and I wish you, Minister, National Commissioner, Deputy Ministers, and all other officials who are part of the police service, and indeed every other person who is going to be participating here, the best of participation. I wish you strong minds, high intellect, and talking without fear of any favor, and also talking very directly. If there ever was a time for anybody to talk more directly about crime, this is the time. And I hope that we will succeed in doing so. Thank you very much.